I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for.
What it do? It's your Dragon Ball Art 90, and I'm back with another BAM reaction video. Yes, today we actually got a good one, you guys. Doing something a little bit different. And today's video, we're going to be going over Dragon Ball Diama, the goods and the bads of Dragon Ball Diama. You dig, you dig, you dig. But before we get to the content today, you guys, make sure you hit the like button so that way we can trigger YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new here, I want to sincerely thank you for coming by and enjoying content with us today. Here at Dragon Ball Art 92, we do reaction videos. Dragon Ball everything reaction videos. So if you're a Dragon Ball fan, make sure you hit that subscribe button and become a part of the Dragon Ball Art family. You dig? Now that we got all that good stuff out the way, you know what it is, bruh. Let's get to the content.
I really wanted to love Dragon Ball Daima, but I'm not so sure I did. Now, from the outset, let me make one thing crystal clear. My feelings on Dragon Ball Daima are not going to be purely positive or negative. They're complicated. At its best, Dragon Ball Daima delivers a stunningly premium experience filled with moments so genuinely captivating and authentic, they managed to evoke an excitement I hadn't felt since childhood.
Now, I'm going to just give my opinion right now before we get into it. I liked it, Dragon Ball Daima, and there were some parts that I didn't like. And I think that's with pretty much everything, bro. I have my likes and dislikes, you know. But that doesn't mean that it was a bad series or something like that. It just means that the way that I see it, you know, it could have been better if it was done this way. And that don't mean that my ideas would be great in that manner neither, because we all create from a different perspective because we see things differently.
Good job, my brother. We rocking with you.
You know what I'm saying? That's just life, you dig? But let's get back into it.
Excitement Dragon Ball Super never even came close to eliciting from me. Yet, at its worst, that very premium facade began to fracture and eventually crumble, exposing, in my view, a narrative far more troubled and messy than what Daima's generous production schedule could possibly ever excuse. Though still, despite these flaws, when the final credits rolled, I couldn't help but shed a tear, not just for what we had received, but also for a profound echo left behind, a potential left perhaps forever unfulfilled. I'm totally not Mark, and today I want to unpack my complicated feelings about this magical, tragic, and at times frustrating final creative echo from the author that defined my formative years, the late and forever great Akira Toriyama, and his final parting gift to us all, Dragon Ball Daima.
I'm glad he did leave it for us, though, to actually view, you know, the last story from him himself. You know, it's a good thing, and I'm grateful for that, you know what I'm saying? And I really appreciate him for all that he's done, you know, for the Dragon Ball community. You dig what I'm saying? But let's get back to it.
When Dragon Ball Daima's first trailer dropped, you could almost hear the sound of every fan's heart dropping in unison. Okay, that might be a smidge hyperbolic. But given the creative choice to age down the cast and set the series immediately following the Buu saga, it was inevitably going to draw immediate comparisons to Dragon Ball GT. Now, I know Dragon Ball GT has its fans, but I'm proudly not one of them. Sure, it has its moments, but...
Oh, man, totally Mark, bro. You didn't like GT? You know, don't get me wrong, bro. There was a lot of bads to GT, and some episodes was just extremely boring, bro. I was like, what in the...
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
And to be honest, when I first seen it, I didn't like it.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Honestly, when I first went the first time, But when I rewatched it, I began to like it a little bit more. And then I rewatched it again and, so on and so forth.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
But, I began to see what the direction they were heading when they were writing the story. And it wasn't a bad story. I ended up really liking GT, though, after the years passed. You know what I mean? But dang, bro. Let's get back to it.
Overall, it's plagued by fundamental storytelling problems, many of which I've detailed previously. You can check that out for yourselves. But among its most criticized choices was the decision to turn Goku, everyone's favorite plucky butt kicker, back into a child. Again, despite my own criticism, I can understand why GT took that route. You see, a major issue plaguing modern Dragon Ball is something called power creep, where the main characters have become so excessively powerful that introducing increasingly stronger villains can feel cartoonishly forced and contrived. I mean, we've literally gone from a strong kid in the forest struggling against regular humans to that same character taking on literal gods in space. Power creep's a hell of a drug. However, jokes aside, this aspect of Dragon Ball is precisely why finding a solution to power creep often feels contrived or like a significant step backwards in terms of narrative progression.
And you know what? He's right, bro. It's pretty much hard to create characters that's going to either put their life at risk or give them a real challenge, bro, because of how strong they already are. That's why I was saying in one of my last videos that, Goku getting to a certain height, you know what I'm saying? We'll have to start really seeing them angels and gods really getting involved. And, I don't think they will make Goku in particularly stronger than the gods, because then I think that's when the story will come to a conclusion. You know what I'm saying? So, but I totally agree with him with the power creeps. It's hard to create stories and narratives around this type of power level. So them turning Goku into a kid kind of makes sense because it gave them a little chance to draw back and be able to create more stories without the enemies being that strong. You dig what I'm saying? But let's get back to it.
Unlike most other shonen stories that offer battles as a means of dispensing the narrative, Dragon Ball goes one step further. At its core, Dragon Ball is specifically about the physical progression and the pushing past one's own limits. Thus, reverting characters to a previous checkpoint in their physical journeys, i.e. turning them back into kids, feels counterintuitive. It's like picking up Frodo from Mount Doom at the end of the third film and dropping him back at the Shire just to extend the story's runtime beyond what feels natural. This was a major issue I had early on with Dragon Ball GT. Its regressive transformation felt superficial as well as antithetical to Dragon Ball's fundamental story. While it impacted Goku's abilities, everyone else remained unaffected, making any dynamic change feel relatively shallow and forced. Furthermore, the primary goal of GT was to gather the Black Star Dragon Balls again to prevent the Earth's destruction, not to reacquire that lost progress. Essentially, this creative choice from GT existed primarily as a nostalgic visual hook rather than a genuinely compelling narrative tool to inform the story in any meaningful capacity. And so it's no wonder the majority reaction to Daima's trailer echoed those very concerns. However, Daima has one thing Dragon Ball GT didn't: Akira Toriyama at the writing helm. And honestly,
Toriyama didn't write GT, which would make sense to why it veered off of what we thought naturally would happen in Dragon Ball. You dig what I'm saying? So it makes sense. I didn't know that at first. You learn something new every day, buddy. Let's get back to it.
his approach, while understated, was inspired.
What the heck? You guys both turned small! What do you mean we turned small?
Unlike GT, where turning Goku into a child felt like a nostalgic and largely surface-level change, Daima deeply integrates the concept into the totality of its narrative's fabric. It's not just a
Well, I kind of like the direction that Diama went in this time, rather than just doing Goku. The wish affected all of them, made them all kids again.
Damn!
Which made the situation even more, how can I say that? Better in my eyes, because it got all the characters involved. You dig what I'm saying? But let's see what totally Mark say.
comedic gimmick, it reshapes character dynamics and their interactions with the world. There's genuine charm and thoughtfulness in seeing characters adjust to their newfound youth. Yes, it's funny seeing Roshi without his glasses looking like a chubby Saitama, but beneath the humor lies an earnest exploration of how those younger bodies affect previously mastered skills. Watching Goku struggle to control his flight or misjudge his combat range due to his shorter limbs introduce real stakes and narrative complexity, helping the story return to an older style of Dragon Ball emphasizing teamwork and diverse skill sets. Nothing is really lost through doing so, there's no regression. It's simply a new challenge for Goku and everyone else around him to overcome. Bulma is a prime example and beneficiary of this very creative choice. Unencumbered by her physical regression, she retains importance through her technological expertise, all the while Goku can no longer rely on instant transmission to solve every issue. Super Saiyan? Can't do it. Kaioken? Can't do it. Flying? Can't do it. And you would think that this would feel like a regression, but instead it just feels like a test of who Goku is. Is he going to let this setback define him, or is he going to knuckle down and get all of those powers back because he's just that damn good? And the best part is, this makes everyone else around him feel that much more valuable, while deepening the group's interactions and necessity for each other. Moreover, Daima impressed me with its thoughtful use of nostalgia. Instead of those opening episodes relying on superficial callbacks, they selectively brought back iconic elements of Dragon Ball's past in ways that genuinely enhanced the story. A standout example is the return of Goku's Nyoibo, the Power Pole. Its reintroduction.
Yeah, them bringing back the power pole was definitely a reminder of what Dragon Ball used to be. And I think what that's doing too is making people interested in going back to watch Dragon Ball to see how Goku started with the power pole. You dig what I'm saying? Then they actually get a full understanding of why they probably brought it back. You know what I mean? Because I remember watching Dragon Ball, bro. It was good, bro. I liked the Dragon Ball, the regular shit. It was dope, bro. And just to see the progress that they made throughout the years, to me, is amazing how you can keep a story going for so long. You dig what I'm saying? But let's get back to it.
Isn't mere fan service, it's directly tied to Goku's current physical limitations. It's a solve to a problem. With his smaller body struggling to reach opponents effectively, retrieving the Nyoibo feels thoughtfully acted and narratively justified, most importantly. Equally impressive is Toriyama's restraint in scenarios where nostalgia could have easily overshadowed storytelling integrity. Following the
It was crazy though when Goku tried to fight the giants with his power pole, and he has stopped that giant from swinging his ruler to smack everybody, bro. That was crazy. And if you watch Dragon Ball Diamond, right, they were talking about that was the second most dangerous planet to go to in the demon realm. And then I believe they had another planet called the Gigas that was way bigger than them. That's crazy work, bro. Insane, bro. I couldn't even imagine in real life seeing something like that, bro. That's mind blowing to go from being the normal size to maybe going to being an ant size because the beings around you are just that much bigger than you.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
That's wild, bro. You know what I mean? But let's get back to it.
Retrieval of the Nyoibo, many viewers may have seen the return of Kintoon as a foregone conclusion. In for a penny, in for a pound, am I right? Wrong. This is the difference between thoughtful and cheap fan service. Goku's journey in Dragon Ball Daima is defined by his struggle to reacquire what has been taken from him, and through doing so become a better martial artist. Which is why within episode 2, Goku spends so much time regaining his lost fluency in flight. Bring Kintoon into the equation and immediately its presence runs antithetical to Daima's story, undermining and undercutting Goku's personal growth.
I want you to turn the ones who defeated Majin Buu and all their friends back into children!
Creating villains is hard. Actually, okay, wait, let me clarify. Creating good villains is hard. This is especially true in long-running series like Dragon Ball, where seemingly every extreme idea has already been explored. The sinister reincarnation of God's evil twin? You betcha. Your secret evil brother shows up with a crew of even worse villains. Check. Space Hitler. Double check. But beyond raw power, what truly...
He called him Space Hitler. Oh my God. Frieza got so many nicknames, bro. Oh my God, man. That is crazy work. Totally, Mark, bro. I give it to you on that one, bro. That was funny. Let's get back to it.
makes a Dragon Ball villain compelling is how their personality shapes the conflict of their arc. Frieza's playful ruthlessness made the cat and mouse games of Namek incredibly captivating and intense. Cell's cocky competitive streak mirrored Goku's, making him the perfect adversary for Gohan to overcome as he stepped into his father's shoes. Basically, if you craft a villain with genuine ambition and a unique personality, the story almost writes itself. However, when you create a villain carelessly, you end up with something like, I don't know, wouldn't it be cool if Gohan fought Cell again, but now he's giant and red, resulting in a Dragon Ball film with the most annoying title imaginable. Modern Dragon Ball has certainly been a mixed bag in this respect, but for every Cell, Max, or Jiren of the world, Toriyama has also delivered genuinely fascinating characters like Beerus, Zamasu, and Broly. Each of these villains and antagonists come with their own distinct stories and personalities, directly influencing the narrative and engaging the audience on a deeper level. And so, when little stumpy King Goma waddled onto the stage, part of me felt apprehensive, yes, but mostly I was excited. Playing it safe leads to boring television, and Akira Toriyama is anything but boring.
Yeah, and the only thing I really didn't like about the hold on, I forgot bro's name already. So I ain't even gonna butcher it, but the last boss in Diama. I didn't like the fact that he put on that third eye and just got amazingly strong like that, bro. I just thought that was sloppy or lazy storytelling in my eyes, bro.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
I mean, you could have made at least a warrior that, you know, had the natural ability or even trained in some sense, worked for that type of power to be on their level, then it would have been a lot more interesting to me. And also, if you watch Daima, we had an idea that they was going to face Goma. That's his name, bro. They was going to face Goma, but the version that they were going to face wasn't the version they got at the end, you know, due to the third eye. So, you know, it was, like I said, it was sloppy writing to me, bro, because how you shoot an energy blast and create a hole through the body and the third eye just heal it like that. Like, bro, that's nah, bro. Nah, but that's my critique about that. Let's get back to it.
Oftentimes introducing villains in pairs or groups, cleverly using their contrasting personalities to highlight individual characteristics and establish their roles within the story. Take Vegeta and Nappa for example. Nappa's loud, reckless aggression and emotional impulsivities highlight Vegeta's calculated ruthlessness, strategic mindset, and attention to detail. In Dragon Ball Daima, Goma and Degasu embody a similar dynamic. Right from his introduction, Goma showcases classic Toriyama humor, fitting perfectly into the celebratory tone of Dragon Ball's 40th anniversary that Daima represents. He's an exaggerated villain whose intimidation factor is constantly undermined by his quirky and eccentric demeanor. Now, I know plenty of viewers groaned at the reveal of this goofy little manlet as our supposed big bad, but personally, I saw immense potential here. A villain who is immature, easily manipulated, and has spent his entire life as the perpetual butt of a joke could...
Yeah, bro, they both was extremely goofy, bro. Him and Degasu, you know, Supreme Kai's brother. You dig what I'm saying? They both was goofy. And it was interesting how everybody was turning on Goma, but I think it really was because, like they said, he was easily manipulated. Everybody wanted that position to be the supreme demon king.
He's got a point.
You know what I mean? And that's what kind of did make it interesting, because it was different plots happening at one time. You dig what I'm saying? Like the Supreme Kai's sister, she wanted the position too, and she actually went to Earth while Majin Buu was alive and got pieces of Buu and took it back to the demon realm.
Bruh.
Crazy work. She was on her game, bro, trying to figure it out, already plotting back then. So it's amazing, you know, how they can link up different stories and put them together like that, man. That's a talent, bro. And that's what I did like about it, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't like they were just some loyal, dumb followers. You dig what I'm saying? They actually had minds of their own and had goals of their own, which made the whole story more interesting. You know what I mean? But that's it for me today, you guys. I want to thank you guys for coming through and checking out the video. Go check out Coley Mark channel if you want to see the whole video. And I just want to say I appreciate y'all, man. Every day, man, we making moves. We go keep working and being more consistent. I'm gonna be more consistent for y'all. You dig what I'm saying when it comes to dropping these videos? At least 1 to 2 videos a day. I'm gonna try my best to make that happen. But have a blessed day, you guys. And y'all know the slogan: believe in yourself, because ain't nobody else gonna do it, bruh. Dragon Ball Art 92. I'm out, y'all. Peace.
I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spent cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spent cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spent cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spent cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for.